Hey, hello, and welcome to Show and Tell. Thanks so much for your patience. I had a whole workstation crash right before the show started, so we're starting a couple minutes late. But we have a whole bunch of great projects that people are going to show, great people with great projects. So without further ado, we're going to jump in and check in with Jay.
Hey,
Jay, going?
Pretty good. Can't complain. So today I have showing. I've been working on these wing shoes for a while, and this is like the prototype. And recently they just broke. I took them out to try like walking around with them and stuff, and the back part fell off. So I've had some like issues with them, but luckily I'm remaking them. So these are like a smaller version. Oops, kind of bright. It's really a smaller version that will hopefully work this time. So I'm hoping to have this done by at least this weekend.
Excellent. And those are remind me, are those two attached to your shoes?
Yeah, these are going to be attached to my shoes.
Yeah.
I found a cool way of making it work, but it's going to be a kind of a surprise that I think people are going to like.
Ooh. All right.
So that's pretty much all I'm working on, and a small little AI thing. So that's pretty much all I have going on for me right now. Hey, Minecraft, can you give me a wave? Let's see if it actually works.
I'm afraid I can't do that.
Apparently, it can't do that. So.
It's not allowed.
It's learning. But yeah, that's all I have going on for me right now is me trying to get these really cool projects out because I'm really hoping to get it done. Hopefully by the end of the month.
Good. Well, yeah, best of luck with that. And we've all got a little bit of Project Gremlins happening today, I think. So best of luck moving forward from that. Thanks, Jay. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Next up, we've got Dan on deck. And Dan's screen. Hi, Dan.
Hello. Let me just, great. All right. So I'm just going to show you something that's sort of we just started on, or I just started on. We have all these chips that do Wi-Fi, and the ESP32 S2 does Wi-Fi. We've been using it as an HTTP client a lot. So people make requests to places, but we actually haven't used it as a web server. We had that with our airlift boards, but we didn't have it with the ESP32 S2. So I wrote a simple version of an HTTP server library. And right now it's running on this ESP32 S2 TFT. And I only made it in TFT so you could see what IP address it decided to use. But it could just as well run on the QT Py ESP32 S2. So very tiny web server if you wanted. And there's a library. I'll put a link in the chat later. It's Adafruit CircuitPython HTTP server, which is in GitHub. You can find it there. So this what you see here is the code for a simple web server that's just going to return the temperature. And the server has routing. That's kind of a jargon that's used for HTTP servers. Like you give it a URL, and URL/temperature does something. In this case, it's going to call microcontroller.cpu.temperature and convert it to a string. And so it's running right now. And I could just refresh it. And it tells me the CPU temperature. It's pretty tiny there, 24. I'll make it bigger. Or I can't make it. Can I make this bigger? Yeah. There we are. All right, great. All right. So that's interesting. That's very simple. Let me change it to run a different program, which was just going to serve up files. So just your basic file server. And that's even simpler. It's just, in this case, we route / to be index.html, which is the top of some website. So let's do that. Smaller. We make it the right size.
That's great.
All right. So this is a word game that you probably have heard of and out loud. But it's just some JavaScript and a few other files, and we snarfed it off of a website that was bought by a large media company recently. If you don't want to use this one and it works, we could type into this or whatever you want. All right. So by the way, if you want different versions of this word game, there are like 1,000 of them on.
There's so many out there.
So look around. So just go ahead. That's all I have to show. If you want to build a
Yeah.
simple HTTP server with an ESP32 S2 in CircuitPython,
Right.
this is how you can do it.
That's great. And to be clear, for people who might not know, you have the JavaScript or the Java for this word game right on that Feather board, and you're serving it up from that Feather board.
Right. This word game, the JavaScript for it is in here. It's not talking to anything else on the internet.
Yeah.
It could be, it's perfectly local. The person who wrote this wrote it as a single JavaScript file, a large one.
And one question I have is, will you also be able to connect to that Feather directly as an access point, or is it currently working just as long as you're on the same network with it?
It's on Wi-Fi, so it's on my local network,
Right.
192.168 network.
And could it be configured so that you could connect directly to the Feather in the absence of any other Wi-Fi, like set up a little ad hoc network using the Feather itself? Is that possible?
I have not tried that.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's an interesting possibility. Right. It's going through my router right now.
Yeah. Because then you could be the Pied Piper of free word game that's been acquired by the Gray Lady and give it back. Thank you so much. This is great, very exciting. And I think I'm going to be working on a guide that does, I think, both an Arduino version that exists that I think Limor worked on, and then hopefully I'll be able to work with you to add the CircuitPython version as well. So we'll have it sort of typed up to a neat tutorial in the future.
And that's the whole code. Okay. All right, great.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dan. This is terrific.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Let's see. Next up, we have Scott, who's been hanging out over here. Hey, Scott.
Hello. I was just wondering if you were going to call on me next. I was like, oh, I better pick up my project. So this is not code that I've actually written. Somebody else came up with it, but this is a demo that I got working, which uses the PIO peripheral of the RP2040, which is programmable I/O, to do USB host, which is pretty exciting. So what I've got here is I've got a Feather RP2040, and then dangling off of it is just like our USB socket, USB-A socket. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plug the Feather in, and we should maybe see, yeah, connected at least. And then what I've got here is an old, well, a mouse. And so I'm going to plug the mouse in to here, and hopefully it works. Like that. And now we can see that it found the mouse. And if I click it, it's reading the HID reports for that. So it's really cool. It's of course, the serial terminal is going over the existing USB. So the cool thing about this is that it allows you to do both USB host and USB device at the same time. So we're looking at getting support for that in CircuitPython, and I'm going to collaborate with TAC on that, hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. The only time I've really run into this before has been on like Teensy 3.8 or 3.9 and 4.2. I think there were a couple of Teensies that had a USB host,
right?
And they got really popular in some of like the synthesizer MIDI world because people wanted to plug stuff into a microcontroller and then do other stuff. So it's like with this, we should be able to do a similar sort of thing on any of the RP2040 based boards, huh?
Yeah, and I think I may actually start working on the Teensy, the IMX chips on the Teensy 4. While I think I'm going to try to hand off this work to TAC, and TAC will go wild with it.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
Yeah. Well, thanks for showing that, and keep us posted on the progress with that. And let us
All right, we'll do.
Test things. Thanks, Scott.
Yep.
All right. Next up, we've got Todd Bot. Hey, Todd.
Hello. Good to see you. So I've been working on a project using the KB2040. The how do you make this? Here we go. The Arduino Pro Micro format RP2040 board, and this is a little MIDI keyboard, so you can I don't know if you can hear the audio for that.
Sounds great.
But it's also got LEDs because you have to have LEDs. But then also it is standalone. So if I plug it into a little USB battery pack here, that was triggering a MIDI device on a laptop. This is totally standalone, and this is actually triggering samples on the RP2040 itself. So you can do things like.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Excellent.
so also with LEDs, and yeah, so I've got oops, it's all on GitHub. This is the little circuit board. It uses standard key switch sockets, and the RP2040 just plugs into it.
That's super cool. And you've been doing this on this is in CircuitPython, and you were telling me one of the tricks here is the audio mixer library allows you to get really quick response because the files are kind of always all playing, right? And you're just mixing their levels with the keys.
In this case, I'm actually playing them in, like, I'm actually doing the open wave file, opening the file, and it's just CircuitPython is fast enough because I don't know what it's doing. It's mapping, like Scott can answer this why it's so fast. I didn't think this would actually work, but every time you press a key, it's actually opening the file, reading it, starting up an audio object. Scott's in line.
I mean, I think essentially this is why WAV files are great, right? There's not a lot of pre-processing you have to do with the WAV file.
Yeah. I assume if these were MP3s, there'd be a lot of lag because it has to build up the buffer or something. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But yeah, it's like this is a drum kit down here, and it's pretty fast, you know. And each one of those is opening the WAV file, reading it, and so on. So, and the sounds you're hearing is this little battery-powered speaker. So this is fully self-contained little sample player thing you can stick in your book bag and take it to school.
Cool. Way cool. Please put the link in Discord.
Totes, yeah. Anyway, that's my project.
Love it. Thank you, Todd. Thanks for showing that.
See ya.
All right, way cool. Let's see. Next up, we're gonna bring on MakeItHackin. Howdy.
Hello, world. Can you hear me?
We hear you really well.
Awesome. So tonight I'm going to show off my telephone ringer. Yay. I'm sure you're going to like this, John. So me and my friend got together probably about a month ago, and we decided to try and make a telephone ring. So from breadboard to circuit board, this is where we're at. So I'm having it run off the Adafruit Feathers. It's been tested on ESP32 S2, M0 Express, RP2040, and a 32U4.
Right.
And so this demo, you can either I got it since I have the ESP8266. I'm hooked up to Adafruit IO right now. So let me just refresh, and then I'm gonna click this button here.
Yeah.
And
Great.
so I have an American ring style, and then I have these buttons here to do other rings. So the British version actually doesn't work on this phone because it's like something with like the frequency of the ring, but that's the British ring. And then so the power goes from either the USB or the battery into this XL6019 boost converter, boosts it up to about 40 volts, and then it goes into an Adafruit 8871 motor controller, which switches it up to a square waveform, volts AC into the phone. So it's about $40 total for the BOM, and I'll be dropping the link for the GitHub in the chat. It'll be evolving over time, but
this is so great, and I'm really excited about this because I've got a few phones and I've been wanting to ring them, and I looked at what kind of exists out there. I didn't find any open source projects. There's a circuit you'll see that's been in magazines, and then there's a couple companies who sell things mostly for people who are doing stage props, because this happens all the time. Theaters need to ring phones, and so they spend about $150 to get this little circuit in a box so that they can do it. And yours is way more advanced, honestly. The fact that you're doing Wi-Fi to it, and
and it runs off a battery, which I think is pretty awesome. The battery may not last depending on what size you have or whatever, but so I'll drop the link in the chat, and good stuff.
This is so great. And did you build this because you just wanted to, or did you have a purpose in mind for it?
Just wanted to actually. I don't know if you've ever heard of these bargain bin stores. It's like where people return Amazon products, and I got like 9 of these phones, and I was
great.
like, they were $1 each, and I was like, what can I do with this? And I was thinking like, I want to try and ring this, and then I saw you started to do your project stuff, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Let me see.
It's such a cool, it's really interesting little world there of stuff with these phones. A lot in them. So thank you for tackling the ringing part, because I wasn't.
The other cool part is it actually provides, when you press the buttons, it makes, you know, the DTMF tones and stuff like that too. So
okay, so you're powering the phone enough to do those? Is that how that? Yeah. Oh, that's great.
The only thing is with the old phones, it seems like it takes more watts to ring it. So that's why I think the British ring doesn't work on these.
Interesting.
But yeah.
Great job. Thank you for bringing that by. And I'm very excited that you're sharing this with the world so we can all ring our old phones. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. Take care. Way cool. Very excited about that. All right. Let's bring on ZapWizard. He's been waiting patiently. Hey, ZapWizard.
Howdy, folks. Audio good?
Sounds great.
So this is a project that I've been working on for a while now, and it's got a heck of a lot of Adafruit in it. So if you want to pull up my desktop, this is my Radiation King radio from Fallout 3 and Fallout 4.
Ooh.
So this is the mechanical design that I've been working on, various parts. It's going to have some fake vacuum tubes.
Cool.
But the brunt of it is going to be a Raspberry Pi Pico, Raspberry Pi Zero. And then some of the unique things that I'm using in here is, and I'll actually switch off to my camera here and turn this guy first off, and hopefully the audio will come across. It should all be copyright free. So I'm using an Aircore motor, and I'm using Pygame. Let's see if hopefully it's loud enough.
Yeah, sounds good.
And the idea is to simulate radio stations, simulate an old school radio while creating a in-game prop. I'm going to switch back to my desktop here. So I'm using a Adafruit. Using an Adafruit motor controller. This solved a problem that I had with the Aircore motor, where it drops, the coil voltage drops to 0 near the coordinates, or one of the coils. And this motor controller from you guys actually had a analog in, analog out, or it had the coil voltage separate from the pulse width modulation, or the coil direction, I guess I should say. That solved the big problem with that. And then everything's written in CircuitPython, 500 lines of code on the Pi Pico, which is handling all the ADC, the potentiometers. And then on the Pi Zero I'm running Pygame to do my audio, although I'm kind of curious if the audio mixer library will be fast enough to do this. And I'm actually recording the time since the radio started and creating a virtual live playback. Anytime you tune off a station and come back an hour later, it's an hour later on that station.
Oh, that's fantastic. Wow. Are the stations WAV files?
They're all OGG files, which was the fastest response I was getting with the with the code on Pygame. There's virtually no lag whatsoever, so you can skip around on this and literally get the little blips of audio as you tune across.
That's terrific. Really nice. Real quick, someone had a question on one of the chats about, is that a TFT? But no, that's an actual needle.
No, this is a full-on analog motor. A little tiny dime-sized Aircore motor. Aircore motors are 2 horizontally opposed coils around a magnet that's on a shaft. And you do the sine, cosine voltage to actually set the angle. And you can set anywhere around 360 degrees.
Motion looks great on it that you got too.
Yep. So there's no stepping. I initially did try a micro stepper motor. Those just small, cheap ones you get off Amazon. And it looks like a second hand on a cheap watch. This is perfectly very smooth. In fact, the only stepping I'm getting is that I'm having to do a little bit of smoothing of the potentiometer input. And you can kind of see a little bit of that. So there's a logarithmic potentiometer for volume, a linear potentiometer for tuning, And then these 4 buttons on the front will allow you to do fast forwarding, rewind, play and pause that you couldn't do on, of course, a real analog radio. And then it's got a speaker bonnet running these speakers. So they're only 3 watts, but that's more than enough for this type of configuration.
Well, excellent work. Really cool project. I'm blown away and can't wait to see this.
Well, the last cool part is this guy.
Oh,
this is a mechanical ultrasonic remote control.
Ultrasonic, okay, yeah.
So I just you guys fixed a bug in CircuitPython recently that allowed me to do 80 kilohertz FFT sampling with a PDM microphone, which is amazing. And now I'm working on trying to get this guy working.
Fantastic, really cool. Thanks. Please bring more stuff on as you go. Love seeing it. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, we have just a few minutes before it's going to be time for Ask an Engineer, so we will speed round it with, I think we have 2 or 3 people, so let's bring on, this is Paul Daly.
Hello. Hey, how's it going? I have for you a Majora's Mask PCB. So it's got the Majora's Mask from The Legend of Zelda. I'm wearing it on my shirt too. And it's part of the Teach Me PCB class that Advanced Assembly was running. So it's a Raspberry Pi Pico. It has 2 encoders. One's doing brightness and one can do volume here. And I kind of mapped them to be there. And what you're hearing on my phone, if I unlock it, I ran an emulator from my original N64 game here. And I've got it. So I can, well, there goes my phone. Wow, this is going great. All right, speed round. But yeah, that's about what it is.
You were saying you're adjusting volume on the game with the PCB?
Yeah, so I've got a couple different settings I can do. I can do brightness on the phone, and I can do volume on the game. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all over USB HID?
Yep, all USB HID. So.
And it's also a keyboard, yeah? Is that what's at the bottom there?
Yeah, there's key switches, and I have them set to control Link on the screen right now. So you can kind of see I'm running around.
That is fantastic. That is the most specific macro pad I have ever seen.
Yeah, well, I wish I had put a joystick on it, but
sure. Next version. Really cool. Thank you so much.
Yep, have a great day.
All right. That was fantastic. Let's see. We have Rich Sad. Where did you go? You disappeared. Oh, no. Liz, Blitz City DIY. Are you here?
Hello. Hey. So I've been working on a guide that's going to be like a MIDI for makers. And so I'm going to have a couple of examples. So this is one of the examples that's going to show MIDI in. So it's a QT Py RP2040 hooked up to a screen. And then when I play a MIDI note, it'll show note message and note number. Just to show how you can read MIDI messages and then, display them or use them for other projects. So just a quick little demo.
That's really cool. Yeah, it's really helpful. And this is a UART or a USB MIDI message you're reading here?
This is USB. So this controller is plugged into a USB MIDI host I have running on a Raspberry Pi, and then the QT Py is plugged in there so it can read the MIDI controller directly.
Really cool. I think this is going to be a great guide and really helpful to a lot of people to
Thank you. And thank you for sending me that link. I've been chugging away at the guide this week. So hopefully
great.
Up. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much, Liz. We'll see you next time. Thanks, all right. And I don't know if this is a person. I see something called mouse. Is that someone's camera? I see a, let's find out. I love it. It's communicating. I don't know who this is, but I appreciate it. Looks like they've got a little disking MIDI to CV controller and a Euro situation going on. Says Mouse is bringing it in the house. It really is. All right. Well, that's mysterious. I love it. Thank you, Mouse, for bringing that by and for playing us out. And thanks everyone else for all of your terrific projects. Oh, Mouse, are you still there?
Yeah,
awesome.
Can you hear me now?
We hear you, yeah.
Okay, I was trying to route the audio from the synth and I was using this mixer app. It's not working for StreamYard, so
I hear you now.
Yeah, I've showed this before, but I got a couple new modules. This envelope generator is the first PCB I ever designed myself, and it worked with only one baud wire. And for people who saw your show yesterday, it has one of those minimal Arduinos with FTDI.
Oh, yeah.
And a wave folder here.
Nice.
And some of the stuff is coming from VCV Rack on the PC because I don't have enough modules yet.
Sure.
So I'll come back another time and show more stuff.
That's great. Really nice work. Thanks, Mouse. Thanks for the song. If you want to play us out, I don't know if you can switch your audio, then people can groove as we head on out of show and tell.
Probably, I'm not going to try it. The
audio's pressure. Bing, boom, boop, 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 boo. Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for stopping by for show and tell. Sorry for people who didn't make it. I think maybe just Rich had to run before we could get to him. But please come back next week. And now in 1 minute, it's going to be time for Ask an Engineer right here on your favorite streaming service for Adafruit. Thanks all, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.